This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, July 11th, 2018, with a look at the pre-market. Actually, a little bit of the post-market and pre-market. What I'm seeing here is a bit of a sell-off after hours, little recovery, a drop down here below this line actually comes down into the similar value we're at here, comes back up. Now we're in pre-market. Wait a sec. Wednesday. I think that's AM. Yeah, so that was PM here, comes down here, and then Wednesday morning we're recovering back up to the same level, pull back slightly, and then we're up. And now we're coming back and retesting what I'm considering a neckline right around this area. This looks like an inverted head and shoulders on the after hours and pre-market, and a retest of that neckline. And this area is the same area we talked about yesterday, where we bounced here, here, and kind of pivoted off of here. And it's all really, really close. That same area, 1731, 1732. And so seeing this pre-market come back right into this same area, right before the open, I'm like, wow, that is a great place to just buy. Now, the last couple of days, last 3 days, we've had a bearish candle start of the day. And I was thinking, this location looks like a great place to buy. It looks like it's opening low. It looks like it's going to open and pull back some. You're almost taking out the lows. Some people might want to sell here. I don't know how much of a selling candle we're going to get because of the setup of this this pattern in here, ready to go bullish. So we'll step into the day and immediately, let's see, is that the first? That was the 825 candle. So the 825 candle pre-market still totally bounces there. And then we have the 830 candle, and that actually opens here. Does have some selling, back down, not quite as far down, but comes right back into this neckline and then starts to recover. Would have been amazing to have the open right at this level and just be bought up. But we still got some buying. We got a little bit of selling, but we have an open with a bullish candle, a buying candle, and something is different from the last couple of days. Just based on that opening 5 minute and the location of it. We quickly move up almost to this resistance, throw up an over wick, pull back down, and we touch it really quickly. From relatively the same open as yesterday. We sold and then rallied, and we did this over an hour and a half or so. Today we did it in 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 minutes. Got up to that same level again, and moving much more aggressively bullish. Now, once it's at this line, it pushed through it, it pulled back, came back up to it, and chopped sideways. This kind of consolidation we could have again, but I would expect it to actually go bullish because this is so strongly bullish. It's like it needed a little bit of this pullback after hours and some of the selling, and now we're trapping all those people who were just thinking, oh, it's just going to go down from here, it's going to roll over again. And so let's see what happens. Pushes through again, comes back, actually still holds. Okay, it's come back again. Anytime it comes back in here now, okay, you're retesting from above. After now you've established above, it could hold this. It definitely could hold this. People think it's a place to buy right here on this line. It bounced here, it bounced here. Yesterday we were selling from those same levels. Now we're bouncing from them. And again, bounced slightly, and then it actually took out the low. So now it's like, okay, this is coming back. If somebody bought here, they may have been stopped out. They may not have trailed up their stop that quickly. Maybe their stop was right below at this point, and they did get stopped out. Now it's a question of how much further back is it going to pull down, and then will it actually get back above the line? We get a squeeze forming, and that's a really nice hammer. Would have been nicer with a bullish candle, an indecision candle, and then a bullish candle. This is a Morningstar reversal. We just need to move above this and stop down here, and this could totally continue higher. and instead it just kind of goes sideways a little bit, and then it goes a little higher, retests, and slowly just grinds. So we have a bit of a consolidation, lower highs, higher lows here, that ends up breaking out, making a little bit of a higher high, retesting, and I'm just seeing this line that we've retested. This is the next place to buy off of that kind of a triangle. And now we've got the squeeze that we could see push it higher, continue higher, but this is a great place to be pausing if we even just stay at this level. Like I said, this would have been a place to buy down here and just hung on for a move up as long as you can hold on, or exit here at this resistance, this value. You can look at the options and see, and then this is just some sideways chop, waiting for something to happen. Just like we waited another like 2 hours yesterday, we're waiting for 3 hours now today after this kind of a move up. Instead of 2 hours, it's 3 hours. It just kind of waits a little longer, and now it starts to move up and has a little bit of a flag that goes on a little too long, pulls back into a hammer, retesting that breakout level, and I'd like to see that move up again, and instead it comes all the way back down to the same level. Looks like it's taking out, looks like it's selling. That squeeze never really got going bullish. Goes into a momentary squeeze again, and then fires, and it looks like it's firing bearish, but still has the bullish momentum, and then bounces there again, and then just rallies up, and it continues on up into the close. So there would have been a couple times to buy in here, maybe gotten stopped out, a couple times to buy off these bounces, stopped out, buy again, stopped out, maybe you bought again somewhere up in here. But on the flip side, had you just bought at the open, or bought on any of these pullbacks, which would have been a little bit harder to nail today. So let's jump over to the options and see what the option was doing on that call. And remember the line we had, oops, let's switch this way. Remember that trend line we had, these lows, and could have bought yesterday on that pullback? Well, it worked again today, and I was really shocked that it did. Could have been buying at the open, 6 by 5, something like that. Would have had to have it either set up, looking for that price, to pull back to here, or to open down here, and then taking that, instead of like yesterday where it went, from 550 up to 8, you could have done that again, 550 to 8. But it moves so quickly that you may have gotten out at 8 and missed out on all of this, or you would have not had your targets set yet. It's possible if you waited for something amazing to happen, and would have been able to get out at the highs from yesterday. And that's where we stayed pretty much. We didn't really push through this high so much, the $12 high. Could have exited there and then been watching the option for a pullback. There's a little bit, not so much of a trend here, but just a higher low, and then relative high and a relative high. I'm calling these relative because it would have been really hard to hold on for it to make a higher move. And once it hit this one around 12 again, just like yesterday, another move into that level, you'd be exiting a little bit lower than 12. Wanted to lock in before all these other people were looking to lock in and maybe just missed out on it. But that would have been holding through, buying in, holding through some chop, and then getting out early. It just wasn't as clear today on where to actually get in, but it was really mirroring the moves in this, because we're so close to being in the money. We're actually at the money. 1750 call is what we're looking at. So we're a couple strikes out of the money, get into the money, out of the money, so lose a little more premium, then bounce, double bottom here, neckline, retest, bounce. This is a higher high on the day, higher high than yesterday, but it actually made a slightly lower high in the option, and it's just the premium disappearing, especially now that it's Wednesday. We've been watching this, how this option moves for the last few days. So you can see a little bit of a high here, lower high, low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and breakout, retest, and again it retested a little bit further than I wanted it to, but it came right down into a low point, a buy point here on the option, retesting this level on the option from yesterday. That would have been a place to get out. That would have been a place to get in today as it bounced around $8, and that's just what it did. You know, that was this pullback here, pulling back to this level, which is just above that same level. Actually pulled into it on the option, but stayed above it on the stock, just how it moved. So the only thing you could have done maybe is a little bit of a bearish move when it did this kind of bounce and then consolidated, and then this 3 candle stair step here, or let's see, I guess it's 3 and then kind of these 3 and then a breakdown. Had you traded that bearish, that would have been getting in on the 1245 candle on the put, and the 1245 candle was here, getting in on that candle for, let's say, 950, or having the order open, getting in here on that pullback at 950, and then getting out at 1150. You know, just getting a quick $200 move and getting out, and that would have been counter trend. You would have been looking to get out quickly. You would have had to have that push down below this line to do that. But that would have been a really quick 2R right there with a $100 risk unit, and could have worked. So it's possible to have something like that here. Let's see, that would have been a high wave candle here after this kind of huge run up. So that would have been 925. Let's go look at 925. So the 925 candle was this one. So let's say you got in on the next one, could have gotten in at 10. No, not 10. Well, 11. Let's call it 11 by 10. And maybe could have been stopped out here, depending on what the option price was actually trading at. And then if you were still in 11 by 10, or maybe you hit that candle and you had it at 1050 by 950, something like that below that low, probably still in that. So, but let's say you got in at 10, you want to get out counter trend, you want to get out at 13, just grab 2R, and you could have grabbed that through this kind of move here if you weren't stopped out. Otherwise, you wait for it to trade sideways a little bit more on the option, get in at 1050 by 950, and take that up to 1250, right? 1050. Did I say 1050 to 1250? Yeah, and just get 2R that way. So that would have been, 2R here on the put, 2R here on the put, and then maybe it would have been stopped out a couple times trying to buy on the call, looking for it to rally, and it just didn't. But you would have made, let's say you got in with this trend line on the option, you got in at 6, and you were able to flip it out at 12. If you got out at 12, maybe you got out at 11, and then we'll just say that's 5R. You got 2Rs on the puts. That's a 9R day just with taking the open and then selling when it got back up to that same level, going short with the puts. And then after you got out of the put, when it was doing this, maybe you got into the call again and rode some of this up into close, and that would have been buying probably 9, maybe 9 by 8 or something, and it just would have worked going up and got out. It came back up to the same level. So you probably got out around here when it paused around 11. So 9 to 11, that's another 2R going bullish. You missed out on some of this into the close, but that would have been, if you did all of that and only that and the right timing, that's 11R day, and that's jumping in and out. So that's bullish, bearish, waiting, or not, not trading. Probably would have been stopped out a couple. Let's take it back down by like 3. Maybe you lost some on some of these pullbacks. Trying to go bullish again, but so maybe that's, what did I say, 5 here and then 2 here, so that's 7, and then got stopped out, going bullish again, up in here, and you got stopped out for half an hour, and then it's up here without you, and then you're seeing this and it reverses, and you're in again for 2R coming down, and then you're getting in and you get out here early, you think it's going to roll over again, so you get stopped out because it didn't go bearish, went bullish, and maybe got a little bit of this or maybe not. So let's call that like 8R instead. Take 3R off of the 11 that we were just counting. So anyway, we'll see if this comes into play again tomorrow. or Friday. That'd be phenomenal. But taking a look back at the daily, so I've been saying this pattern here, and now these breakout candles, these three, looks really similar to this pattern than these three breakout candles. Our daily squeeze did fire bullish. We're a stone's throw below this all-time high. Similar to where we were right here, we're stone's throw away from the all-time high. A little bit larger range on this than we have from here to here, but the pattern still kind of looks similar for these three candles. I think some people are buying still here. This indecision candle, it's breaking out bullish. The squeeze is firing bullish. It's got relative volume, not massive volume. I would like to see it pull back, and it wouldn't necessarily pull back this with this large of candles. It could have just a bearish candle, and I think that would actually help the pressure build a little more. Would actually look like it's going from this line, this line to the all-time high line, and I don't even have one in here. It has like a distribution up here. Maybe come back into this level in a few days and then start to bounce again. Now, if it takes a few more days and we get into earnings, that'd be phenomenal. If it does it quickly like this, and it very well could, then I'd look for another place to buy down in here when it comes back in to take out some of these lows. That would be taking out a couple of these lows. If it comes back and bounces around the, was it 1667 price, that's where I'd be looking to get into this again. So we'll see. If it continues higher, then it still looks like this pattern, but then the breakout and how quickly it's moving looks a little bit more like this, that we've got this gentle slope. We're still below the new all-time high, but we broke out a little differently. This candle would be similar to this candle, where it's moving up above a bearish candle. That's what this did. This is a real breakout. These three kind of breaking out above this high. That would have been this high, and then still slightly below this one. That's this one, and then we just kind of plug along a few candles, continuing higher. If we do that, I mean, this is so bullish anyway. That's why I'm thinking it really could use a little more of a rest, a little bit more of a pullback, get some more bears in, but we just trapped a bunch of them right here. So if there's any still holding on, or shorting it up here, I mean, this is where it could really just continue to move when they finally cover their positions, when it gets close above the all-time high. So that's really what it needs to do. Either continue to break out, trapping more bears, make another all-time high, and then pull back, or start to pull back here, and then if it comes down to this level, I'd anticipate another surge higher, similar to this one, where it comes down quickly, or it came down quickly here, and then bounced to a new all-time high, with or without earnings. If it does that, it would help with earnings, and that's, I think, later this month. Should be maybe July 26th. I just don't have it on here. Let's see if it's on. No, it's not. Let me go any more days ahead. So that's what I think could be happening. We'll see what happens on the 5 minute. If we zoom out a little bit on the 5 minute, we can see we're up into this range here. We continued on up after hours. We're literally a stone's throw away from that value. We had a great pause down at the neckline of this, where we retested from below. We're in this area again, and it's looking like it's going to continue up. That's what I'm thinking. If it starts to pull back, takes out some of these lows, and doesn't have a good bounce at an open, this is where it really could pull back, easily pull back into the 1720s, back to these highs. Better to pull back into the 17 teens down to this line. It'd be phenomenal to come down all the way down here, taking out some of these lows, because this has just been an uptrend here. We can probably draw a line connecting these highs. Let's see if I can connect this one. That's really close. Okay, that's a lot closer than I expected it to be. So here's some highs here, high here, high here. That's, yeah, that's what's going on. So we're up into that, and then if I copy, well, I'll just draw a channel instead. So let me grab that again. There, and then where are we at in the bottom? Oh, that's a good bottom there. All right. So didn't expect to do all this, but it's starting to line up. So let's see what we can make out of it. Let's do that one. Let's move this one back a little bit. So there you go. Grab that low. Lows here, a touch there. And we've been staying in the upper half of this channel. That's kind of a halfway bounce, from pre-market this morning or aftermarket yesterday. And we've been, just grinding higher at the top of this. It'd be feasible to have a move back down to the bottom of it, back to this level. I mean, that's almost a target down here in 1714.50. This is not representative of tomorrow. I mean, it does have tomorrow's hours, but it's not. It just always has this out here, and it's kind of bizarre that these are different sizes. But I like having the after hours on just to see this kind of move. It's harder to see this without it, but you can really see. Okay, we just rallied, pulled back all the way to that went back up, pulled back, didn't quite come back down, didn't quite get back up. All right, this time we're going to come back down to it, and now we've just been rallying up, and it's taken a few more days. So this was, from the top to the bottom in a day, up to the top in 2 days, back down to the bottom in the same day, back up in 2 days. Didn't quite make it down in a day, didn't quite make it up in a day, made it down in 2 days, and then it took 1, 2, 3, 4 days to make it to the top, and now we're up here, and it's bouncing. We're back up into the top the next day. So just the pattern of 1 day, 2 day, 1 day, 2 day, kind of thing. Now we're at 3 days. There's a lot of bullishness up here. We definitely retested on something going sideways. That was kind of the move back here, and a great, phenomenal place to bounce here too, with these pivots here and here that we just retested. You wouldn't necessarily see that. You kind of see that without the after hours, but you wouldn't see this one without the after hours trading. So we'll see how far this wants to pull back, or if it's going to break out and then definitely pull back. If this breaks out, don't chase it. Let it pull back into the previous all-time high, 1763 and 95 cents. Let it pull back into that price at least, and then form a hammer or some sort of reversal and a bounce there. But trail up your stop, because now you're at all-time high. The newbies are going to be jumping on, and more people are going to come in and sell it. If we come back down, look for a target down here into at least exit some at this level in the 1720s, and then get out of more of it down in 1450 down here, and then look for a move lower. So it all kind of comes together in this. I'm going to leave this on here. We'll see if we need to make an adjustment. But this looks like a pretty good uptrend here, and some key values to watch for. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.